Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of What's Driving Token Prices. I'm your host, Katie Talati, Director of Research at ARCA. For those of us joining for the first time, I'm responsible for analyzing and identifying digital asset and blockchain opportunities for ARCA's funds. As part of our research, my team and I examined token prices and the market events that act as catalysts for price change. Based on our research and market events over the past week, here are some notable token price movements and what we think drove those moves. As a reminder, this commentary is not intended to be investment advice, investment research, or an investment recommendation. Please consult your investment professional for your own circumstances. All right, new year, guys. Welcome to 2023. We're off with a bit of a bang, I guess. The market up quite a bit here and there. To start this week, we're going to talk about SUSHI Swap. So SUSHI Swap is a decentralized exchange mainly built on Ethereum, but also has many multi-chain many multi-chain versions as well. So SushiSwap announced their plans this week to dissolve its lending protocol Kashi and its token launchpad Miso. In addition, the team released an initial tokenomics proposal, which includes using Sushi token incentives to attract long-term capital. So Sushi actually stopped their current tokenomics scheme late last year, which essentially meant that users could stake their Sushi to earn part of the protocol fees. Earn part of the protocol fees. As the team has kind of been struggling to raise or to figure out how to kind of fund themselves for the next several months or the next couple of years, they decided to actually get rid of the essentially dividend earnings that were given out to stakers and direct that all back to the treasury. The latest proposal is basically their attempt to try to get investors interested in Sushi again, or users, since for them otherwise there wasn't much incentive to hold the Sushi token. So the new proposal consists of a mix of incentives for liquidity providers. So liquidity providers that add liquidity to SushiSwap get certain token incentives. There are protocol earnings again for the Sushi stakers, but it's those who agree to certain time locks or they forfeit those rewards, making sure that capital is more sticky. And then finally, they also are looking at a buyback and burn mechanism with excess. So hopefully that means brighter future for Sushi is on the horizon. Despite this, Sushi only is up 75 bits on the week. All right, next up, everyone's favorite, Solana. So Solana has been on a bit. Solana is a layer 1 protocol. If you're not familiar with it, they had a lot of ties to SBF and FTX, which was supporting their ecosystem. So it has really had a bit of a roller coaster of a week. So after tumbling 95% in 2022, and yes, that is correct, the price of Solana was down 95% last year. And this was, like I said, most of this was kind of the market contraction, implosion of FTX that was really, supporting a lot of the projects on the ecosystem. Solana has been plagued with more trouble. So prominent NFT projects, Youth and Gods, announced that they're actually going to be moving from Solana to Polygon and Ethereum, respectively. So both projects account for over about 2% of the NFT volume on Solana. This is really definitely a huge blow to Solana's burgeoning NFT ecosystem, which was considered one of the kind of big things that maybe the project had going for it, since a lot of DeFi applications have been really hesitant to build on Solana since there's so much downtime and other issues that had plagued the layer 1 the last several months. So even with this decline, after that announcement, the token declined. But then, despite the decline, Solana actually bounced back about 30% in this last week after Ethereum founder Vitalik Buterin tweeted that the chain has a bright future and hopes the community gets its fair chance to thrive. So a lot of people took that as a really positive sign for Solana and hopefully, better future for it. Finally, we also saw a spike in interest in Solana following an airdrop for a token called Bonk, which is a meme token inspired by Doge and Chi. So again, we'll see if these types of gains hold. I think in general, this was a very beat up token for last year and one that people still see as having value. So the retracement of 31% for this week is, doing it good. All right, now we have BitDAO. So BitDAO is the DAO that governs Bit, which is the token for centralized exchange by Bit. So BitDAO passed a proposal a few weeks ago, or just yesterday, a couple days ago, for the Bit purchase program. The proposal specifically approved a daily $2 million purchase of Bit tokens at the market price for the next 50 days. So basically, that totals a $100 million buyback. Since the proposal was introduced, which was just before Christmas, the token has gone up 35%. And actually, just this week, the token is up 40%. It's really an impressive move. All right. Last but not least, we have Lido. So Lido is a liquid staking derivative platform. And Lido is really seeing a huge rise this week for a lot of people who've been watching. The liquid staking derivative space is actually really taking off in anticipation of the upcoming Ethereum upgrade that will enable staking withdrawals. So this has been something that's, basically staking ETH has been kind of a one-way path. There's places like Lido where you can deposit your ETH and get a derivative that can be traded in and out of, but those derivatives don't always trade at parity, and there's not always a lot of liquidity for them. So a lot of people are excited to see that, first of all, there's going to be liquidity, which might mean increased overall in the longer term period. You might see increased deposits onto the liquid platforms. But then also in addition to that, platforms like Lido can realize and sell and include staking rewards, which have been occurring since the launch. In Lido's case, that was about, I think, a little over a year ago. So just for context, Lido holds about $5.6 million in staked earnings just in their own treasury. So those would be earnings that their treasury could realize and then use for operational expenses or grants, anything else. So this is something that we've seen across the space. Lido specifically is up 43%, but there's other liquid staking derivatives which are also up a lot this week, including Rocket Pool and TrackShare, and some of the others like Thinker. So definitely a trend to watch, and one of the things that will continue over the next few months. All right, that's all I got for you guys this week. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoyed our insights. Tune in here again next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific to hear what's driving token prices.